What's up, you guys? It's YUGIOH here, coming at you guys with a discussion video. And so today's topic is going to be about, why do you play Yu-Gi-Oh? Or why does anyone play Yu-Gi-Oh? Why do I play Yu-Gi-Oh? Why would anybody just want to play Yu-Gi-Oh? And is Yu-Gi-Oh a good game? So, I guess to start things off, we're going to go into, why I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh maybe, and, why do I still play Yu-Gi-Oh? And why do I like Yu-Gi-Oh? And do I think it's a good game? And, I started playing back before cards were really in English. They didn't have any English cards. And I live in Hawaii, and there's so much Japanese influence here. There always has been, and there would be kids in your school that in my school, in my class, that would go to Japan for the summer or for winter break, and they'd come back with all these Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and we're like, what is this stuff? And we'd try to duel, and no one knows the real effects, and the Japanese kids are just lying to you, and they're like, oh, I'm just gonna beat you, oh, and you get all frustrated, and it was just really fun, when you're a kid, get all frustrated over something so simple, and that kind of sparked my interest in the Yu-Gi-Oh! When I started looking more into it, and when the cards came out in English, you start looking into it, and you get better at reading the cards, and you understand more. And so that kind of goes into why I like Yu-Gi-Oh! And why I still play it, and that's because there's things that separate Yu-Gi-Oh! From other games that makes Yu-Gi-Oh! Much more unique. And one of the most important things that always intrigued me into the game was the chain links and how chains work. Because in other games, chains stack. You can activate cards after other cards and draw cards, and then the cards you just drew, you can activate those things, and you can just keep going like that. Where Yu-Gi-Oh, it's a little bit more straightforward. You only have one chain link, and it resolves, and then more chains can happen after. But there can only be one real chain link at a time, and you can't stack anything onto a chain link. So that was one of the main reasons why I really liked Yu-Gi-Oh! To begin with. And then another reason would be traps. I really like the idea of traps and how they worked. They have their own mechanics that separate them from other games. They're not like instances and stuff where you can activate it from your hand. You have to set them. And you have to wait for your opponent, and they're just there to interact with your opponent, and that allows for different ways to bluff that you can't really do in other games. In Yu-Gi-Oh, there's ways you can bluff that are a little bit different than the way you would bluff in another game. So it's a really, really interesting concept. So I really like the trap cards. And one of the other things, why I've continued to play over the years is the fact that we have an internal format, and I really like the idea that, I can go back in time, in a sense, and play older cards. And, you can say that we do have kind of a set rotation due to power creep, but really, eventually decks get cards that allow them to play again. Look at Blue Eyes and Dark Magician. They're getting a lot of new cards here. And then look at Mermail is a good example. I've seen that deck go from being the best deck of the format to just eventually a year later they're nothing. And then a year after that, it's oh, here comes Neptibus. The deck is one of the top decks again. So there's so much that can happen in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And the fact that we have an internal format allows for some very creative things to happen. I know there's an argument that there's no creativity in Yu-Gi-Oh! But I'm just gonna be honest, and I think that truthfully, the ones that say there's no creativity are the ones that haven't really come up with anything creative in the first place. Hat was very creative, and that was a while ago, and there's been a lot of power creep since then. But you want to know a good recent example would be Synchro Fusionist. That deck's very creative. If anybody, any of you guys here have been following me, you guys will know that I posted a Destiny Hero / Shadal deck recently, and that was a very creative deck. And if you take a look at that deck, it's very well built. I spent a lot of time on that deck, and I made it as good as it can be. And pretty soon we're gonna get some Destiny Hero support. We don't know what it is, but it's gonna be there, and that means that my Shadal Destiny Hero deck, might get a power boost. And if it does, then I might be able to play my Shadals competitively again. On a higher level, or I could just play my Destiny Heroes like before. So there's a lot of reasons why the internal format really goes into being very creative, and you can do a lot with Yu-Gi-Oh. And I think that's another reason why I will always play this game. And I know a lot of people will say I don't want to play the game anymore. I'm tired of the power creep. And that's completely fine. If you've lost your passion for the game, then that's completely fine. For me personally, I'll never lose it, because the thing that that gets me so I don't know, worked up, the reason why I love Yu-Gi-Oh so much is because I love building decks. Building decks is one of the best skills you can have, and I'll be honest, with a lot of the deck profiles I post up, they're not made to be these like phenomenal decks that I worked on for weeks that I'm giving out to you guys. I'm trying to give out, for a lot of my deck profiles, I'm trying to give out, just basic decks that are really good that you guys can mold to your play style and to your liking, use your own tech options, because deck building is a skill, and that's where you like first will start to become good at Yu-Gi-Oh. And there are some people who are better players and deck builders, and that's usually because they just play, like net decks, or their friends make their deck for them, and that's fine. But I think that once you start to learn how to actually build a deck properly, you can then learn how to actually play the game at a higher level. See Jeff Jones, the man is very creative with how he plays his decks, and he might not be the most like creative player at times. Like I play Bujin this format and I'm good, but it's how he plays. He builds his decks to be able to function in that format. He makes his meta call and he plays accordingly, and that's due to success and knowing how to be creative and build your decks correctly. You don't always have to have this creative idea to make a hybrid deck. You can just play a deck and use tech choices that make your deck function better. And so these are some of the reasons why I really like the game, and I don't think I'll ever quit the game. And I want to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on the game, and why do you guys play, or why did you guys quit, and why do you guys still watch videos? If you guys quit and you're here watching my video, then you still have interest in the game. I'd like to know why, because I really love this game, and I always want to be a part of it. And I want to help as much people as I can out, and I want the people to help me as well. Because that's what we are. We're a community, and we're supposed to be here to help each other. We're not here to bash on each other. That's not like when you bash on a newer player for not playing the most optimal deck. That's not going to make them want to play the game anymore, and that's not going to help our community grow. So that's like the kind of things that we need, even if you're playing meta. You got to be nice to those newer players. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section. If you guys like this video, please give it a like. It helps the channel grow. I'd really appreciate it. If you guys like my content, then subscribe to my channel. I post frequently. Thank you guys very much for watching, and take care. Until next time, guys.